Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's your boy Chris. It's your boy Chris. It's another amazing episode of Financiation. This channel is all about making money. It's all about saving money. It's all about building generational wealth, and it's all about financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty. On this channel, everybody, I try to give you a six-figure MBA level worth of investing and financial knowledge for free here on YouTube. And the things that people typically spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to learn in grad school and business school and things of that nature, I give it to you for free here on Financiation. Before I get started as well, also, guys, I want you to take a look at Kilica Solutions, and I want to give a shout out to one of my sponsors. In general, everybody, if you need digital marketing, if you need website development, or someone who can essentially edit your YouTube videos, Kilica Solutions, they're the best in the business. They're the ones who do all my digital marketing, and I thoroughly enjoy the product that they give me. So let's get started. And please hit that notification bell as well, so that way you know when I drop new content. I was in a 5K a couple months ago, and I won a one-night stay at a resort. And I was told I would get a 42-inch free television as long as I visited this resort and then sat through a timeshare seminar afterwards. The free television, the hotel stay for one night, I ain't gonna lie, it made it worth it. So my wife and I decided to basically take this timeshare group up on this offer, and we decided to drive to this particular place and check out the timeshare. I warned my wife, however, that timeshare salesmen are typically scummy people who make a sleazy used car salesman feel and look like Mother Teresa. To make a long story short, everyone, this resort and this timeshare was absolutely horrible. The people were terrible. The food was terrible. The resort was terrible. They lost our hotel accommodations. And just about everything about this place reeked cheap, and it reeked like a place I did not want to go to. And I won't lie, everybody, as a world traveler and as a finance guy, I literally could not believe how bad the concept of a timeshare was. And the experience was so bad that it literally caused my wife and I to literally get up, tell the guy, we don't even want the TV anymore. And we almost walked out. Ultimately, we did get the TV, and we did end up leaving prematurely. But it just kind of got me thinking, everybody, timeshares are just an absolutely horrible trash investment. And I can't honestly think of any reason why anybody would actually want to hook their finances to such a bad investment vehicle. And as a result, I wanted to make this podcast, Why Timeshares Suck and Are a Bad Idea. With that, everybody, let's get started. So first and foremost, let's do a little history about timeshares. Timeshares, everybody, have existed since 1969. And sadly, I don't know how this is possible. It's actually a 100 billion with a B dollar a year industry. For comparison's sake, everybody, the music industry only makes about $26 billion a year. Major League Baseball, one of the big three major sports in America right now, only made 10 billion with the B dollars last year. And there were roughly about 1,600 timeshare resorts in America just last year in the United States alone, with each residence averaging about 130 units per resort. So timeshares, everybody, it gives you partial ownership of a vacation property, and it's kind of like buying a home in Miami that you can only use 1 week a year, or buying a home in Gatlinburg, Tennessee that you can only use 1 week a year. You essentially pay a large upfront cost to purchase your timeshare. For comparison's sake, for this horrible resort that me and my wife went to, the average price for a 1 week timeshare was an upfront cost of $31,000 plus a $1,500 annual maintenance fee. And on top of that, the contracts, people, are indefinite. That means that you are legally required to pay the maintenance and the resort fees forever, unless you can find a sucker who's dumb enough to actually buy that timeshare from you. And remember, people, you literally get told what 1 week period a year you can actually come visit your $25,000 investment. So you're buying a house you can only use 1 weekend a year, and they tell you what weekend that's going to be. Once again, everybody, does this sound like a good idea? Some timeshares are actually getting to the point where it's a point-based system where you get X number of points and you buy things from Bed Bath & Beyond or Home Depot. Yeah, that really sounds like a great idea. I'll swap out my trip to Europe or to Africa or to the Middle East or to Latin America because I want to buy a toilet seat or a toilet seat cover from Bed Bath & Beyond. This is literally the type of garbage they were telling my wife and I when we were sitting in this particular timeshare presentation. And for comparison's sake, just so you know, they once again were trying to sell my wife and I a timeshare for had an upfront cost of $31,000, and that did not include the maintenance fees. And this was a timeshare we could only use 1 week a year. Everybody, timeshares to me feel like a relic from another era. I'm talking about the blockbuster, Polaroid camera, dinosaur kind of era. And as a finance guy, when I was sitting once again in the room in this presentation, I had to literally not laugh at this dude when he was telling me how about the timeshare. Because I was thinking to myself, this is an absolutely horrible deal. Who in their right mind wants something like this? People, there are a series of reasons why timeshares are a lousy investment. P.T. Barnum himself said it best: a sucker is born every minute, and you have to absolutely be a sucker to buy a timeshare. The only people who benefit from a timeshare are the sleazy used car salesman type individuals that are trying to get you to buy one of their terrible products and the owner of the actual resort itself. Because people, unlike real estate and actual real estate, like a house or a condo or an apartment building or whatever, unlike real estate that you can actually purchase in cities like Miami or Alajuela, Costa Rica, or Dubai, or things like that, that actually have a resale value, timeshares literally have no resale value. Timeshares, people, instead of being like a house, is a lot more like a car. And similar to a car that loses 35% of its value as soon as you drive it off the lot, the value of a timeshare depreciates immensely as soon as you take ownership of it. So everybody, once again, similar to a used car, timeshares almost never increase in value. More problem with timeshares. Typically, everybody, timeshares are sold to you when your defenses are down, you're drunk, or you're basically hungover, and you're basically in complete 100% vacation mode. Typically, the way it works is this: timeshares would give you a free hotel night to stay or whatever. So they'll put you up in a nice, decent 4 or 5 star hotel. They give you a lot of alcohol if you like to drink. They basically let you party it up the night before. And then the next morning, they drag you out of bed and say, okay, you have to be at this timeshare presentation at 8 o'clock in the morning. And everybody, there's a reason why they do that. Similar to a timeshare salesman, they sell you on the idea that when you buy a timeshare, you're essentially investing into real estate that you can pass down to your kids that generates income. And everybody, I'm telling you straight up, nothing is further from the truth. For instance, if I buy a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house in Alajuela, Costa Rica, that house is essentially mine 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And I can do literally anything that I want to do to that house, and I can modify it literally any way that I please. However, if I buy a useless timeshare, I only get to use it 1 weekend a year, and they tell me what weekend I'm going to use it. I have to literally get permission from them to tell me when I can come visit my house. I'm literally spending money and maintenance fees on every year. Secondly, if I buy that house in Alajuela, Costa Rica, or if I buy the house in the Dominican Republic, if I buy the house in Serbia, if I buy this house in Los Angeles or whatever, if I buy this house in Miami Beach, in South Beach or whatever, I can literally throw that thing on Airbnb 52 weeks a year and just stack generational paper. Whereas with most timeshares, however, they expressly forbid Airbnbs or rental properties, and they prevent you from renting your property in any shape, form, or fashion. To be exact, when me and my wife were visiting this particular resort, they made it extremely clear: if we catch people putting their timeshares on Airbnbs, they can literally lose the property, and there's going to be legal ramifications that come with it. People, this is not a game. Timeshares suck. I can't think of any reason, purely from a financial perspective, why anyone would want to use one. Before I go any further, everybody, please hit that notification bell so that you know when I drop new content. Please hit that like button. Please comment. Please subscribe. It helps the algorithm, and I thoroughly enjoy giving you guys new content. Next, timeshares to me, in a lot of ways, they basically kind of prey on the financially vulnerable and the financially incompetent. And everybody, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I have an MBA. I've done finance and done financial consulting for the better part of a decade. And in general, everybody, I try not to judge a book by its cover because it happens to me all the time, both in corporate America and as an entrepreneur. But given my profession, the circles that I roll in, both in my professional life and in my personal life or whatever, I can spot wealthy people very quickly. And a lot of times, everybody, without people even realizing it, there's a certain way that financially literate people move. There's a certain way that financially competent people move. There's a certain way that wealthy people move. There's a way that they talk. There's a way that they dress. There's a way that they act. There's a way that they essentially carry themselves. It's essentially a look that has nothing to do with their skin color, the car they drive, or what kind of clothes they wear. It literally, people, is almost like a sixth sense where you can say, okay, that gentleman right there has money. That woman right there, she has money. They're hiding it. They're basically essentially trying to not let the masses know. But I know for a fact, just from certain things that you can look for, this individual most likely is doing quite well financially. You honestly don't see a lot of millionaire next door types in timeshare presentations. You just don't. In fact, timeshares, like I said earlier, they seem to appeal to financially inexperienced people. Or how about this? Why would you just throw $35,000 or whatever into a timeshare when you could put $35,000 into a total stock market index fund that averages 14% over the last 40 years? And then once you become a millionaire in 5 to 7 years, you can take that same money, and instead of using it for a useless timeshare, you could book Airbnbs in any city or any country in the world that you want to go on. People, when I looked around and I looked at the people who sit in that venue next to me, I observed people once again, I observed people. When I was sitting in this particular timeshare presentation, I started looking at the individuals who were around me, and I noticed certain things about them. When it boils down to it, everybody, I listened to their conversations, and I looked at the individuals who were sitting around me in this particular timeshare, and it was very obvious to me, not to be cruel, but nothing about the timeshare crowd screams generational wealth or financially intelligent people to me. And for what it's worth, everyone, my wife and I, everywhere we particularly for this particular timeshare, people just simply stared at us for whatever reason. Timeshare brochures also, everybody, they portray broke people as quote unquote living the good life. But very little is actually mentioned about the investment returns of a timeshare, because there simply are no investment returns for a timeshare. Once again, everybody, you drop literally on average $23,000 for a timeshare, and the average maintenance fee / taxes for timeshares every year are over $1,500. And once again, this is a property that you can't sell, and this is a property that pretty much for the most part, no one wants to buy. I'll say this, timeshares are essentially vacation homes that are sold to poor people who actually can't afford a real vacation home. And people, it's like this, if you are spending money for the future, it should be considered an investment. If it's not generating income, however, it's an expense, plain and simple. And timeshares, by and large, do not generate income. They are a liability. They are not an asset. Next, timeshares flat out are not liquid. From what I can gather, there are vastly more people looking to sell a timeshare than to buy one. So full disclosure, when my wife and I were looking at this particular timeshare, originally they told us the upfront price was $31,000 and the annual maintenance fees were $1,500. About 30 minutes later, when we made it very clear, look, dude, we're not buying this crappy timeshare. We want our TV so we can go. They basically dropped the price from $31,000 to $25,000. And that $1,500 a month maintenance fee went to $250. So within 30 minutes, they literally dropped the price of this timeshare by thousands of dollars, and they cut the maintenance fee down by over 75 to 80%. And it's crazy, everybody. Statistically speaking, timeshares are literally financial drains, and the likelihood of recovering your investment on a timeshare, statistically speaking, is extremely small. That's the reason why they are always up for sale. Another thing I noticed with timeshare industry is that it attracts a lot of let's just say fraudsters. I won't call them criminals, but even though they really are, but it attracts a lot of scummy type individuals who are fraudsters and essentially scam people out of a lot of their money. So for instance, you own a timeshare, you're not making any money off of it, you realize this thing sucks. Why am I spending all this money for a home I can use one weekend a year, and I had no idea what's going on in this home the other 51 weeks a year? So let me sell this thing. A lot of times what happens, everybody, is this. A fraudster will create a business, an LLC, that sells your timeshares, as long as you give us the $5,000 to help you sell the timeshare. So you look at the website, it looks okay, everything looks good. You call the people, they sound very nice and friendly, so you send them your $5,000, only to never hear from them ever again. This happens a lot more often, people, than you realize. And another thing that people who actually have timeshares lament is that selling them, once again, you receive literally a fraction of what you've actually put into them. As I said earlier, everybody, almost no one makes money or enjoys the process of owning a timeshare. It is legitimately a relic from a different era. My advice, everybody, my advice is simple about timeshares. In my very humble opinion, I'm saying this from a financial perspective and from a guy who's a world traveler who's traveled literally all over this world, from Europe to Africa to South America to Asia, whatever. I backpacked across multiple countries. In my humble opinion, you are vastly, vastly better off staying at a decent 3 or 4-star hotel, or even better, staying at an Airbnb instead of wasting your money on a timeshare. At least in hotels and Airbnbs, you have literally 100% control of when you go, where you go, how you vacation, and what you can do. And you're literally not beholden to the stupid and the useless rules of a timeshare or regulations of a resort. Once again, everybody, I have literally backpacked all over the world. Prior to getting married, I went to Africa, Asia, Latin America, South America. I have traveled and lived in multiple countries. And I have never had an issue finding a decent hotel, a decent hostel, or an upscale Airbnb to stay in. Now that I am a happily married man, I obviously stay in much nicer accommodations when I travel because my wife is a little more bougie than me. And the price, however, even with that, is still significantly cheaper than me wasting $31,000 on a timeshare that I can use 1 weekend a year and then having to spend roughly $1,200 to $1,500 a month in maintenance fees for a unit that I literally only see 7 days a year. Ultimately, everybody, in my opinion, save your money. Then put down a very nice down payment on a home. Buy that home, rehab that home, refinance that home, then rent that home and each particular room out to individuals who want to live there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. This will give you a positive cash flow of several $1,000s every month. And once you've done one home and paid it off, do a second home, then do a third home, and repeat that process multiple times in different states and in different countries over the years. Then a couple years later, a few decades later, at that point, you can literally travel people like a king in any, or king or queen in any country, in any state, in any village that you want to, because you are making so much money off of your Airbnb properties and off of your house properties. One aspect, everybody, of building generational wealth is properly investing your money. And another aspect of building generational wealth is spending a lot less money than you save. But you know what, everybody? One of the cardinal rules to build generational wealth is simple. Avoid dumb purchases. And tying yourself to a timeshare is an extremely dumb purchase. Timeshares, everybody, are absolutely similar to me to what I called earlier. They're Blockbuster, they're Polaroid cameras, they're beepers, they're Walkmans, they're walkie-talkies. They essentially are 8-track tapes in a digital world. So my advice, everybody, like I said, is simple. Do what my wife and I did. If you have to slog and waste your time going to a timeshare presentation, make sure you're getting a free television, a free hotel stay, and under no circumstances do you actually buy that thing. Literally, it's a waste of your time. It's a waste of your money. And the individuals, once again, like I said, who sell you timeshares, they make used car salesmen feel like Mother Teresa. It's a very scummy environment. Simple as that. That, everybody, I think I pretty much have kind of labeled out all the rules, all the reasons why timeshares suck, and hopefully you don't waste your time buying one. That's just my own personal opinion. I don't get any money from Airbnb yet by saying this kind of stuff, but there are vastly better ways to travel, okay? And timeshares, in my opinion, are some of the worst ways imaginable to vacation. In closing, everybody, this channel, Financipation, is all about making money. It's all about saving money. It's all about building generational wealth, and it's all about financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty. With that, everybody, please follow me at on my website, www.therealfinancipation.com. On Instagram, check me out there, @thereal_financipation. Please check me on the Spotify, Financipation. Please check me out on TikTok, just like it says right there, Financipation. My Facebook page, obviously, is Financipation. And check out my financial blog as well, where I typically go into much deeper financial details and much deeper types of investments you can make to essentially stack your generational paper. I know this was a different video today. I talked about why timeshares suck, because they most assuredly do. But I wanted to just kind of touch about that because, as I said earlier, sometimes, everybody, the best way to build generational wealth is with knowing not to purchase. It's as simple as that. And check out some of my digital, my e-products below as well, too, okay? And it's your boy, Chris. I'm out. Peace.